What's up, everybody? Slam and Sam here with Erica. How is it going today?
Well, it's better now that we're in the show. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. Yesterday, Q1, we shook. First qualifying session today, we shook. So we're outside looking in, going into the last session. So a little bit nerve-wracking. Kind of just put our whole old setup in to go A to B, and we did. We did not run really well. We went a 69. I think we're sitting number 13, but my guys reminded me today that in the fall here we qualified 12th and won the race. So anything can happen from anywhere, and I'm just glad to be in the show tomorrow.
Yeah, and talking about that, Vegas is, usually your lucky spot. So was it, going back, like you said, going back to something that you're familiar with and something that's just kind of old faithful after years of proving yourself here in Vegas?
Yeah, but Vegas has definitely been good to us in the past. We've won a lot here. And we developed some new stuff that we've been testing back in Oklahoma. Went to Tulsa a handful of times before we came out here. Felt pretty confident in what we learned, and the Las Vegas track decided it did not like it. So we gave it one more shot this morning. We're not really quite sure what our exact problem is, but it's pretty significant. So we went back to our old faithful setup between like tires, shocks, clutch, engine tune-up, and just get the car to go down the track, and that's exactly what it did.
So you're always famous for this, drive that bitch back.
Yeah.
So kind of just tell everybody where that started and why do you guys enjoy it so much?
Okay, so we won back-to-back world championships in 2014, 2015. We switched to a Dodge, and that was the same year for the electronic fuel injection implementation, 10,500 RPM rule change, shorter wheelie bars, a whole bunch of different stuff that went into effect, and we just had the worst year ever in 2016. I went from finishing number 1 in the world to finishing number 9 in the world, and won 0 races in 16. What was your question?
Driving that.
Oh, drive the bitch back. Okay, sorry. See what happens here? Shut up. So when we finally won a race again, it was our first time to get the car back in the winner's circle, and we took our pictures and whatnot, and my engine guy, Jay Kirsten, he's like, drive it back to the pits. I'm like, what? Because, Pro Stock's like, no. He's like, yeah, you're not going to hurt anything. I'm like, are you for real? So I got in the driver's seat, Courtney hopped in the passenger seat, and we drove the car back to the pits. And as I pulled in, and this was like unplanned totally, I pulled in the pit, and she goes, what'd you just do? I said, I just drove that bitch back. And that's what came out of my mouth, and it stuck. So not a probably super proud moment for my father, but we drove the bitch back.
So awesome. And then too, we didn't get an interview with you, but there in Orlando in the early season, you went down to the Door Slammers. How was that event for you, and what is different from an event like that to an NHRA event?
And we take a lot of pride in the World Door Slammer Nationals because it's a race that Richard Freeman, my team owner, and Wes Buck put on together. They spent all of the time making the calls to all the manufacturers, and what is so cool about that event is all of these guys from you go down the list of sponsors on our cars, people that provide parts for our engines, that used to be contingency sponsors out here and quit because of the cost associated with it. They're like, man, how can we get involved? We want to get back to the racer, and that was what was so exciting about it. And we raised over $500,000 to give back to the racer. Paid $75,000 to win in Pro Stock, I think $50,000 to win in Pro Mod. This year we invited a handful of sportsman classes with doors, top sportsman, factory shootout. Comp Eliminator was there this year, which we were.
You happened to win.
We won. We did. It's a cool little car, the clutch and a 5-speed Liberty, so it's kind of like my Pro Stock car. But I think the difference in there is just really the atmosphere, where NHRA is a lot more structured. They run on schedule. That stuff tends to run a little bit off of schedule. I think that's the only thing we really need to work on. But super exciting, super laid back atmosphere. We fed and let all the racers drink on us. We had a big party there, supplied the food and alcohol, and it's just like a really cool, relaxed environment. It makes it fun again, like sports and racing was. It's not so much a job. So I think that's the biggest difference, and I want to point out, it's not to knock NHRA, but it's just the racers getting together, a group of people who are passionate about what we do, and allowing our manufacturers to support the racer. And it was just a super fun event, and it was our second annual this year, and it's just going to grow and get better from here. So. All
right, bonus question, because I know the guy is standing right there. Who is cooler, Dion or Alex?
I'm going to go with my boy Dion. I mean, he's more understated, right? You know what I'm saying? Because Alex is big, like, showy on social media. But no, they're both great people. But Dion's a young kid who has a great teacher, and Woody, his dad, and we're really excited to have him out here. But he's a man for sure.
All right, thanks, E. And hopefully the Vegas luck continues, and we will see you in the winter circle.
Drive that bitch back.